Hi, my name's Diana Nguyen and I'm a shamanic and intuitive healer and founder and owner of Trinity Health and Living. The topic of today's video is going to be going through meeting your spirit guides quickly and doing what I call a spiritual stocktake on your spirit guides. So today's will be a little bit of a mini class on identifying what spirit guides are actually working to your benefit, and for the spirit guides that aren't necessarily there for your greater good, we will thank them in a meditation later on and ask them to move on so that we ensure that your spiritual team, the spirit team that you're working with, actually is coming from the right place. So the first part of this video will be a little bit of an explanation as to why we're doing this and how I got to this point. And then the second part of the video will be a guided meditation to actually take you through to be able to do this spiritual stocktake. So let's start at the beginning. How did we get to this point? So first off, what I will say is that this video is aimed to people who are actually already working with their spirit guides or at the beginning stages of working with their spirit guides. So whilst you might meet some of the spirit guides today, the intent is more you've already established some sort of relationship with them, okay? Now, when I started on this spiritual journey and did my various courses on energy healing, it was super exciting to know that there was another world out there which we're not really taught about in education or in society. And, you know, when we begin to realize, oh wow, there's other beings out there that we can't necessarily see, but they're actually there to help us, I get really excited, right? Because then we can ask them to help us and miracles can happen. So one of the first things I learned when it was about angels was, did you know you actually could ask the car park angel to find you a good car park in wherever you were going? You just have to give them a little bit of time and notice up front. But generally, most of the time you request that car park, you're actually going to get it because the car park angels work for you, right? So when I began this spiritual journey, I was super excited to start to go into this and experiment with it, right? I went on journeys to meet my spirit guides, and I also began to understand beings such as the angels and ascended masters. Examples of ascended masters include Jesus Christ, Mary Magdalene and Kuan Yin, even Ganesh, Krishna. There's quite a lot of them. And what I noticed when I now reflect and look back on my time was there was always an assumption that I knew that the energy that I was working with was actually the energy that I had intended to work with. So for example, there was the assumption that I knew I was actually working with Archangel Michael. I knew I was actually working with Jesus Christ. But that assumption in some ways is a little bit difficult because you don't know what you don't know. And as I progressed on my own spiritual journey and learning, what I ended up finding was whilst we have many energies out there that are there to assist us and help us, like the angels, there's also the flip side to it. Okay, so spiritual work is not just light and love. There's also a shadow component to it as well, because we live in a world of duality. Okay, so there are energies that will masquerade and pretend that they are coming from the light, coming from the good place. And unless we exercise our discernment, it's going to be really hard for us to know. And what I've seen for myself and also for students of the shamanic healing that I mentor, we are never really taught to be able to discern who the guides are And if the guides aren't coming from the best place, they can actually wreak havoc in our lives and in our healing sessions. They can, for example, prevent us, the practitioner, from being able to dive deeper in ourselves, do the work on ourselves, and also because we cannot dive deeper within ourselves, we can't go deep with a client. Some of these energies will also bring up a lot of resistance to new things which are coming up, or resistance to healing within ourselves. And that can also put a bit of a damper on our own spiritual journey. So, the purpose of today is to give you some tools to be able to recognize whether the guides or the energies that you're working with are actually coming from the right place. Now, how do we do that? The first thing that I always say to everyone is, we all have the ability to tap into our intuition. And our intuition can work in a number of ways. You can be someone who sees with your third eye. You can be someone who feels within your body. You can be someone who just knows what the answer is. You know that something is right for you. And you also know that something's off for you. You might be able to hear your spirit guides. And other people actually have this sense of taste. Okay? So the first thing that I'd like to ask you to identify within yourself is exactly what is the strongest intuitive ability that you have. Because that's normally the way in which your spirit guides will communicate with you. So in my case, my strongest intuitive ability is feeling. So I get a feeling of whether something's off, whether it's really, really good for me. I also feel what's going on in my clients. That's how I can get information in order to figure out what's going on, right? But equally with my feeling sense, because you can have a couple of strong senses, I have a very strong sense of knowing as well. I will just know. I'll know if a spirit guide isn't right for me, for example, or I'll know that something's off and I have to investigate it further. So take a moment to think, what is your strongest intuitive ability? Maybe the top 2, maybe the top 3. And take note that that is how you're going to figure out whether or not something is right for you. And you can take that component and apply it to just about everything in your life when it comes to making choices, okay? So today we focus on discernment of whether or not your spiritual guides are working in your best interest. But know that your intuitive senses will also help you to discern in general what is good for you and what is not. For example, some people might have booked to go away on a holiday, then all of a sudden on the day when they're about to go, they get this really weird feeling going, I actually feel like I have to stay at home. Or I feel like we can't leave right now, but maybe in a few hours. Honor that, because generally that means that something's going to happen. And it's probably not going to help you, okay? So, 1, understand what your intuitive abilities are, because that is your key to figuring out what is right for you or not, okay? The second step is to actually take what I call a baseline of your energy, okay? So when I talk about a baseline of your energy, especially when you're working with spirit guides or other energies, if you're a practitioner, if you're working with clients, even if you're an empath, it's important to understand where you stop and where something else is coming in, okay? Because a lot of us have issues with boundaries. So when I say figure out and find out what your baseline is, I'm actually asking you to come back into your body and notice what sensations are going on in your body at that moment in time. Okay? So let's do that now. This isn't the meditation, this is just to get your baseline, okay? So I want you to take a deep breath in and exhale. Make yourself comfortable. Do whatever you need to do to just come right into this present moment, okay? Breathing in and breathing out. And with each breath like this, we set the intention for all of your energy, wherever it is, scattered around, to come back and be present within your physical body right now. Breathing in and breathing out. Okay, you can close your eyes for this next part, or you can leave them open. But I now want you to notice, how is your body feeling? Notice, are you holding tension anywhere in your body? If you've been working with energy for a while, perhaps you might be noticing or sensing or feeling or seeing things going on in your energetic field. So for example, right now I'm feeling a little bit of fluttering around my solar plexus, and my heart is slightly closed. Okay, I've got a lot of tingling down my legs as well. So for me, I know that's my baseline. So when you have an idea of what your baseline is, I want you to just take note, whether it's to pause this video and write it down, or whether it's just to make a mental note of what you're feeling right now, okay? Because that's your baseline. And so when we go through this guided meditation, you'll be able to sense a difference from what you're feeling right now to what you're feeling during the meditation to what you're feeling after the meditation. Because it all comes back to being able to notice what's going on and understanding what your baseline is. Okay? Okay. With that said, let's begin the guided meditation to take you through to meet your spirit guides, to do the Stocktake, at the end of the Stocktake, to perhaps invite new spirit guides to come on in, and then for you to move forward with this new team. All right? So, again, if you're not already, settled in your chair or lying down or whatever, I urge you to get yourself comfortable and perhaps pause this video until you are comfortable. And then we'll begin after I play these bells, all right? So finding your nice comfortable position and perhaps gently closing your eyes. I want you to once again take a few deep breaths in and exhaling. And inhaling and exhaling. To just bring you into the present moment and into this space. And now I would like you to draw your attention to your body. And for those who work with safe spaces within their body, I invite you to go into that safe space. But for those who've never done this before, then I want you to think about the first place that calls out in your body, where we're going to create a little bit of a safe place or a retreat, where you can put your awareness in there whenever things are a bit too tough in this real world. Okay? It's the first thing that pops into your mind. For some, it may be the stomach area. For others, it might be your heart space. For others, your hands, your feet, or your womb. It doesn't really matter. But I urge you to go there now. And also understanding that if you are unable to see or sense, that's okay. Always keep coming back to this, knowing that my voice has power and energy and a transmission to it. And things are happening as you are just listening to my voice. So locate your safe space, and I want you within that safe space to imagine and bring in as much detail to that safe space within your body. Colours, perhaps, what it looks like. For some people, your safe space might actually be somewhere out in nature. For others, your safe space might just be a feeling of being protected, nurtured, maybe even stillness. So take a while to get comfortable in this safe space of yours. That's it. Just trusting that the intention of this meditation, where we will be meeting your spirit guides who are currently working with you and then doing a spiritual stocktake, that is going to come to fruition. Okay. So now, being in your safe space, I want you to invite, just put the call out within your mind to all of the guides, spirit guides that you've been working with leading up to this point. And only allow them to be at the boundary or the border or the outer edges of your safe space. They're not allowed to come into that safe space yet. Okay. So as this is happening, you might feel, if you're a feeler, a little bit of shift in energy around you as these guides step forward to take their place on the boundary, on the border of your safe space. If you're a seer or you're clairvoyant, you might see these spirit guides standing around you. If your hearing is your best sense, then you might hear your spirit guides around you. So just notice how they are there. You don't necessarily have to put a label on it. You don't have to know everyone who's there. You may only have one or two. You may have a group. It doesn't matter. Just know that your spirit guides are there. Alright, so now, with each spirit guide, I want you to give gratitude, thank them for being here today. Thank them for getting you to this point. Thank them for having worked with you up until now, because you wouldn't be here without them. So it's always important to just acknowledge that, because everyone, at the end of the day, wants acknowledgement for what they do, and to give thanks for what they have done. Okay, so now we're going to lay a little bit of the groundworks for working with your spirit guides moving forward. Okay, so we're going to put this message out to all of the guides who are currently surrounding you at the border and boundary of your safe space. Thank you so much for working with me and getting me to this point. You can say this in your head or you just listen to my words. You don't have to say it out loud, but you can if you like. Okay. Moving forward, I'd like to ensure that I only have the spirit guides working with me and the light beings working with me who fulfill certain criteria. And this is the criteria that I am asking each of you to fulfill. 1, that you love me unconditionally. 2, that you're working with me for my highest and greatest good. 3, that you have no other agenda except to assist me in fulfilling my soul's contract or contracts and life lessons that my soul has signed up for in this current incarnation of myself. And 4, you agree to put me as a priority and to assist me to achieve the fulfillment of my soul's contract and my soul's mission for this incarnation as quick as possible. So now, only invite the guides who agree to all 4 of those conditions to step into your safe space. And notice any shifts in energy or any shifts in what you're sensing compared to what your baseline was. And perhaps notice who's still standing at the periphery and border or boundary of your safe space and who can't come in because they know they cannot fulfill those 4 criteria that we've just listed. And to those spirit guides who are at the border and have not entered into your safe space, once again, we say thank you for getting us or getting me to this point. I no longer need you to work with me anymore. I give you permission to move on and find someone else to assist who is more better suited to whatever your agenda and whatever your mission is. But you may no longer work with me nor step into my safe space. And as we do that, we just say, I break any contract and revoke any permission that I gave to you across all time and space and all dimensions to work with me. And with those guides gone, you might notice or sense or perceive that perhaps your energy field is a little bit lighter. There's a bit of emptiness there compared to what it was before. But that's okay. Because now we're actually going to invite in any other light being, any other spirit guide, any angel, any other energy who would like to work with you, who fulfills those 4 criteria. They love you unconditionally. They're working with you for your highest and greatest good. They have no other agenda apart from assisting you in achieving your soul's contract that you've signed up for this particular incarnation on earth. They're making it as their priority. Your fulfillment of your soul's mission in the fastest way possible. So I invite the new guides who are happy to agree to those terms into your sacred space. And perhaps some of you might be able to see what they look like. You may or may not get a certain name in which to address them. But use this opportunity to perhaps just get to know them a little bit more. Just like you would in this human world when you meet someone for the first time, try to get a bit acquainted and understand a little bit about them. Use this moment to check in and get to know them. Ask them, what can I help you with? And see how perhaps their answers come in. And you might not get any now, which is fine. Because perhaps the time is just for you to meet them and know that they are there, as opposed to actually working with them right now. You might see them pop up later. So if there's a few of you who have quite a number of new ones that have come in and would like to take some time to get acquainted, then I would recommend you pause this video right now and take as long as you need to get acquainted. And then when you're ready, come on back. And so now, with all of your spirit team around you, I want you to give gratitude to them and say, thank you so much for being here with me. Thank you to agreeing to those 4 criteria to work with me. And I really look forward to working with you in the future. And if there's any other requests that you want from them, then you can feel free to go ahead and give them a shopping list of requests. But when you're ready, bringing your awareness back to your physical body, the whole of your physical body. Being aware of perhaps any sensations around the feet, maybe even moving your toes a little bit, moving your fingertips. Focusing on the inhale to bring in all of your energies back into the present moment. So inhaling, 2, 3, and exhaling, 2, 3, 4, inhaling, 2, 3, 4, and exhaling, 2, 3, 4, inhaling, 2, 3, 4, bringing everything back, exhaling, 2, 3, 4. And when you're ready, open your eyes and notice how you feel. And compare that to what your baseline was before. Knowing now that this is your new baseline moving forward. So that concludes the mini class today. I hope you got something out of it and you were able to meet with the guides, figure out who was not working for you, figure out who was. And remember that this is only but one way of being able to do it. There are many other ways. So if this way did not work for you, that's okay. There'll be other ways that you'll find that will. Check in with yourself, okay? Because as I said before, you will know the right answer. You will know what is working for you. You just have to tap into your intuition to figure it out. Let me know in the comments how you went, what went on for you, and I look forward to working with you guys in the future.